Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 224 at scavengerlife.com. Here we are at Trash Elf Radio, aka Trash Elf University.
Trash Elf Central.
It's just Trash Elf anything.
So this week was probably, it feels like it was our first full week back home.
Yeah.
After traveling for 2.5 months.
A long time.
And it felt like, we had caught up with everything the week it's before.
Yeah.
We had caught up with shipping.
Yes.
And we were just like kind of a clean slate. And it feels good that we're home for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing but being able to focus on our eBay business.
I mean, we've been really going crazy. Like, you've been going crazy taking photos. Like, I can't even keep up with it. I'm like, whoa, more photos?
It's good.
Yeah.
I talked about this, after having the stress of, working for someone else on these several jobs we did, it's nice just to get back to just kind of taking pictures of stuff.
It seems so simple.
At my own pace.
Right.
With the radio on and drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because we have been attacking piles of clothes. People know if you do a variety of different things, clothes, shoes, knickknacks, whatever, furniture, whatever, clothes go into piles because you buy them at the thrift store or wherever and you start making piles of them. And then you leave them. How long do you think we left those piles of clothes? I mean, months, right?
At least 6 months.
I mean, 6 months. They've been sitting there forever.
At least 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, because we tackled some clothes, but not the level that we needed to. The good thing was we thought we had friends coming to visit because my office doubles as a guest house. It's like its own little apartment. And we were like, we got to get through these clothes because these people are coming on, Friday night. And so we're cranking through it, right? And then we were checking in with our friends. What time do you think you'll be here on Friday? And they're like, oh, we can't come. But we didn't stop.
It was great, though. I'm
we did
glad
not stop.
I'm glad they didn't come because I don't know if we would have been done. But
no, we wouldn't.
So we have one more week and we will take care of all the pile, and this is a pile of pants, of shirts, of dresses, of skirts.
Oh, everything.
We had men's and women's jackets, which we did. There's a small pile of kids' clothes. We don't buy kids' clothes, but
sometimes you just get them. So
that's what we're doing. Every day before we do other things, is we do one pile of clothes.
Yeah,
some type of clothes.
Right,
and we do. It's measure it. I know that's been controversial lately, but we still measure everything.
We measure it because most of our stuff is not contemporary clothes. So
and and that stuff does sell, and so
seriously, clothes sell. I am not very good at selling skirts or dresses, yet I still buy them.
Yeah,
they take me forever to sell, but I still do it.
In our main house, we have some piles of stuff, stuff from Amsterdam. So I've been doing that while you're listing.
Yes.
And so I've been slowly getting through that, too. And it's nice.
Yeah, I mean,
it just always amazes me that when we can focus and have nothing else going on, if we just do, a couple things every day, how quickly you can get through things,
Yeah, I mean, it feels impossible. When you see a big pile of clothes, you're like, how are we? But they really do go faster than you think.
Right.
You can crank through them and you're like, oh, that was only 15 jackets. It looked like 100 to me.
Right.
It's like a folder full of jackets that you can list like that.
Yep.
Now they're up. Now they're ready to be purchased. So.
Yep. And then you've been putting things on eBay like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is, and we can talk about this more later, but eBay is being really buggy right now, and I think it's because they're changing the whole, seller hub thing, and it's kind of a pain because I was actually I didn't really tell you this because I was like, it's not even worth talking about, but I was having a lot of trouble listing this week because you would go through it, and then they would be like, system not responding, and you're like, now I have to go redo what I just did. It saved the draft, but half the information's gone. That kept happening. and then they were not sending confirmation emails, which is kind of a bummer because that helps me find stuff later in my email if I need to, like, when did I list this? Blah, blah, blah. It's just good information. And for the last week of listing, I've got no confirmation emails from eBay. So it feels really buggy. I don't know what the problem is with them, when they're going to fix it, but...
Yeah, it seems like they're in a mad rush. I mean, we have no idea, but we assume they're changing a bunch of things and they're trying to do it. It's before the holiday season kicks in.
Yeah.
Although we're kind of in it now.
We're kind of in it, yeah, so...
And we've chosen not to use the new...
Seller Hub. Yeah, so
because people have said
it's buggy, things are missing, the listing page isn't saving all your, like, detailed information that's usually there. So when I got the prompt to do it, I was just like, I can't deal with it. I'm just going to wait till it's ironed out and just use the old listing method. So I've just been using the normal listing method, the Seller Manager Pro or whatever. I don't even know what it's called. So far, so good, other than no confirmation emails. So,
and then, like other people have said on the blog, that when an item is sold,
yes,
we get a cha-ching, and then we get another cha-ching like 2 minutes
when they
after
pay.
That. Yeah,
it's weird. I've never seen that. I don't know if that's new. Ooh, that's a nice... Now we're going to get that twice. You know what? What's funny about that cha-ching that just came over? It was someone paying for an item that I had to open an unpaid item case against. It's just weird. So you think it's a new sale, and it's just someone paying for something. Why are they doing... Like, it's one thing to do the cha-ching when it sells. Why not do a different sound when they pay?
Right.
Like a... system sound.
That would happen through PayPal, where you would get a notice that someone...
Yeah, but not everyone has their PayPal notifications turned on. It just seems like I'm getting way too many notifications here. Just tell me when someone buys something.
So anyway, but, I hear you. Everyone's complaining. It's not good.
Yeah.
But you know what? Things do sell. Things can get put online. And, this is eBay's business. I mean, I'm assuming they have... hundreds of engineers working on it. Well, maybe not hundreds.
But, I wish.
A group of people who are working on this, because that's the way they make cash. So
right. So
gotta fix it.
It's to their benefit to have a smooth operating system. Right. It does not benefit eBay when stuff is going down. Yep. So far, it has. I don't think it's affected our sales. Right. I have purchased things on eBay myself this week. It was not a problem, so I don't think that's the problem.
So then we had just something that happened this week. We had a trash shelf.
Stay at our rental.
A listener of this blog had rented for several nights at our farmhouse, and it was nice.
Vic,
it was him and his family came. They were great. The thing I like about it is that people come and they just have their own experience.
Yes.
Because... that's why they're here, is just to enjoy the area.
Right.
But then, if they want, we're willing to go and hang out with them.
Yeah,
so
talk eBay.
Suggested we just have...
we had breakfast with them. Actually, they were about to leave, and they were like, let's have breakfast. And it was really,
great.
Really cute.
It's Vic and his wife. They were great. It's funny. He says he's been on eBay since, I think, 99.
Since, like, the beginning, he said, yeah.
And, he does other work, too, but he does this as well.
Right.
And he makes good money. I think he said he was making, like, $1,500
a week.
And I feel like there's a lot of sellers like that on eBay that are just very quiet. They go about their business. They make a lot of, they make a good income. And they don't have to brag about it, talk about it. They don't need blogs.
Unlike us.
Or podcasts, right. They're just like, I'm just like, wow, you're doing it,
Yeah.
And, it was funny. He's got a system. He's got certain things he likes to sell.
Yep.
He does great.
I love talking to people about that. I mean, we were, like, really nerding out, where we were just like, talking numbers, talking, like, where you find stuff, how do you store your stuff, and it's, like, we love talking about that stuff, because I love hearing how people do it.
And it's always interesting for us, too, to talk to people that have been selling for a long time. Because I feel like this happens a lot, where people will sell, and they'll do really well for 6 months, a year,
Yes.
maybe even 2 years, but then they just stop because something comes up, they get burnt out,
Yeah.
whatever. It's interesting when you meet people that have really integrated eBay
Yeah.
into their life.
Well, I always think about that too, because we have started a rental business, and that takes up a lot of our time. And I'm always like a little bit nervous that that's going to just take over completely, you know? And I'm like, how are we going to like keep integrating eBay? I know that we will, but I feel like one of those people sometimes where like you can easily just do this other thing, you know, and just, you know, eBay goes by the wayside. I think we enjoy it too much.
Well, I mean, so I'm going to do, it's one of my little ideas here.
Yes, okay.
So
Little ideas.
hand me a bit of time. I think for us with eBay, because we've been doing this since 2008, pretty full time.
Yeah.
You know, and for a while there, it was our main source of
The
income.
only source of income.
It's been nice. We've kind of added another piece of income.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still important to us. I mean, we need to make money
Yes.
on eBay to, like, live a good life
Yeah.
and pay our bills and all
Right.
that. So I think for us, it's about consistency. I think we've always been good about that. Like, we don't make the most money in the
Right.
world of other people. Like, if you go on the blog, there are other sellers that are making much more money than we are.
Yeah,
You know? And some
easily.
of them, and many of them have fewer items than we do.
Yeah.
But I think our success is about consistency. So for us, it's about, instead of like being rich, like we're trying to make $1 million.
Yeah.
It's more about we're looking for some sort of consistent income.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are not business specialists. We come at this from the angle of freelancers.
Right.
You know, because that's who we are.
Yes.
I mean, we were freelancers before doing eBay. And if you've lived the life of someone who is it's freelancer, it's all about having inconsistent income.
Yes.
You know, a couple jobs, then you don't have anything, or all the work comes at once. So then if you take everything on,
Yeah.
over doing too much work because you're afraid to say no to
Yeah.
anything. And so I think eBay was really nice, is we felt like we could get some consistency.
Right.
You know?
You're making money every week.
Right.
Which, as a freelancer, it was every month. You know, there were chunks of the month that you might make money. There might be a month where you didn't.
Right.
You know, and that's why when we discovered making money on eBay, we were like, oh my God, we could like make money every day.
Right.
You know?
And you know, doing freelance work, it's for us. Like that was kind of my part of the team here, is that I was always hustling for new clients.
Yeah.
So you're always like looking for work, and I could like be looking for other people to hire us and not have anything. And it was such a good feeling on eBay where like we don't have to ask anyone.
Yeah.
We can just list. Like we can spend all day long and list and know that stuff will eventually sell.
Yeah.
You know, that was really nice. And really, we're more like artists.
Yes.
We've said this, it's before, than like business people. And like with most artists, much of life is learning to thrive while having time to pursue our interests.
Right.
You know? So, you know, we all have to make a living somehow and pay our bills. But you don't want it to overcome your whole life, so
Right.
you don't have time to do the things that are enjoyable.
Right.
You know?
Or have just a quality of life every day where you don't feel stress. I mean, yeah, you feel stress all the time about different things, but, you know, an overall level of calm. You know what I mean? Like, that is such a huge thing to
Right.
be able to achieve, you know, every single day.
Right. And, you know, not have, like, you know, be working a job where it takes up so much brain space
Yes.
that there's no room to just focus on things that you enjoy.
Right. Other
you know?
things. Gardening, cooking, whatever, anything.
Yeah.
Taking a walk, you know, doing other things that don't involve
Any of
making
that
money.
stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and so it's kind of a paradox. I mean, you know, I say that eBay has brought us consistency, or, you know, we're...
Yeah. It sounds odd.
You know, because really, there's no guarantee.
Right.
But we have found, though, as long as we're a listing, things will sell.
Yeah.
And that we have a pretty consistent flow of cash from eBay.
Yeah.
You know? And I like to treat it like a video game, you know.
Yes, I
Ryan
can
always
too.
laughs. But I like games that are resource management games.
This is what he does for fun, people.
Anyone that plays video games out there, did you know that there's like a subject of video games where it's managing its resources.
Yeah,
and, you know,
sounds fun.
It's great. It's very stressful, but I love it. You know, and so it's almost like what our life is like.
Absolutely.
You know? Like as you have these different streams of money coming in.
Yep.
The streams are changing, and you can make them grow or get smaller based on how much work you do for each one, and then you have to take that money and throw it at debt or bills or, you know, savings or some new project, and you're trying to figure out what can we do this month. Do we pay some more of our debt,
right,
or do we buy this thing that's going to make our business better? You know?
Exactly. No, I'm glad you do that, because then I don't have to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I guess and with this comes the consistency. Means that you always have to make choices, regardless of what makes sense. So, like clothes.
Okay.
We started out in 2008. We sold exclusively clothes and shoes.
Yes.
For 3 years straight.
Yes.
That's all we sold. These was easy to get.
Right.
And we had a flow.
Yeah.
And then we made a lot of cash too.
Right.
In some ways, we've talked about this. We've actually seen our income kind of drop some since we stopped doing clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
Exclusively.
Only clothes and shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Even if it makes sense to just sell clothes and shoes, it doesn't. It's not logical for us for our consistency, because number one, we got bored with it, and we just would not work as hard. You know?
Yeah, or I don't think we wouldn't work as hard. I think eventually we would not want to do this anymore, because we would just be like burnt out on like jackets.
Right. So,
you know.
So the consistency is we need to find something else that excites us.
Right.
And that's when we started to go and start digging in different parts of the thrift store, or going to different kind of flea markets and auctions and finding things that excited us.
Right.
And that's what it's about. The consistency is about always being excited about what we're going to sell.
And we circled, like we said, back around to clothes, because we find clothes. And I will say this, when I'm taking photos of dresses and we're doing shirts and jackets and whatever, the level of quality of those items is so much higher now, because we're like, if we just get junk, it's not going to sell for as much, and it just takes up more room and more time.
Right.
We even got rid of a bunch of stuff because we were like, this thing's too junky. It's a nice brand, but it is far gone, you know? So I think that's the evolution. We took a long break from that, came back, and then like refined what we were doing.
Right.
So it makes me less bored, because I'm like, this is a very nice jacket. I'm psyched to sell this. I know it's going to sell. It's worth, like, there's some jackets where I'm like, this jacket's worth $200 easily, you know? That's crazy. That's more fun than here's a junky sweater with 7 holes and a stain on it.
Totally, yeah. And that's what we would sell.
Yeah,
back in the early days.
Absolutely would sell that stuff.
But we'd also sell it for like $9.99.
$9.
You know? So,
exactly.
But, you know, again, that's to take away this. For us, it's about the long game, you know? Like, we started in 2008. We have no plan on quitting this, because this is so much a part of our life.
Yes.
And the only way it will work is that if we're consistent about it, and we're only consistent about it if we keep enjoying it. And so all of our decisions is based on that, the enjoyment of finding, of scavenging and selling on eBay.
Right.
So it's not about what's going to make us the most money.
Right. Although that is a good thing. What's going to make us money.
That's part of the equation. But ultimately it's about, like, you know, what do we enjoy doing? Because if we don't enjoy it, it doesn't matter if clothes sell. It doesn't matter, because if we don't take the time to put them online, they aren't going to sell.
That's what. Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, if we don't enjoy it, we aren't going to put them online.
Right. We'll just be bored. But if I have just like a handful of folders of clothes, I'm like, cool, I'll do it. You know, great. Speaking of all that,
so this week,
yes,
I don't want to say I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the thing with saying slow. So it was not slow this week. Because I don't like to use that word. It was quiet.
It's quiet.
I think that's a better because it was quiet. But, you know, it turned out we actually didn't do too bad. Mainly because we had a good handful of, like, high dollar sales.
Yes.
So in our main store, our flagship store, we sold 24 items for about $1,000.
Okay.
$1,100. Then in our second store, we sold 6 items for $272. $270, yeah.
Yeah.
But the big thing was Bonanza. We sell something on Bonanza once every couple of weeks. We normally don't mention it. It's just like...
It's just little items. A hat.
It's just like $4. So I don't even put it in our numbers. We sold a rug on Bonanza for $500.
A full price.
Full price rug. So we're definitely mentioning that because that saved our bacon.
So that brought our numbers up to...
So we made about $1,800
right. That
this week.
Saved us this week. Because like you said, eBay was quiet. There were 2 days where we sold one thing each day on eBay. I mean, those are days where you're like, you know, conspiracy theories are going off in your head type days. You're like, But one of those days, the $500 rug sold on Bonanza, and we were like, okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
That's good. So, I mean, again, you know, if you look at our numbers week to week for the past 3 months, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 has basically been our consistent income.
That's normal.
You know? And I mean, and we have no control over that. It's just how it seems to happen. And it's fine with us because that's the money we need. We can't wait to get to where we're making $3,000.
God, I would love that.
A week. Because that's what we were making it last year during Christmas.
Yeah, so let's hope.
See. So some of the things we sold this week, we sold, you know, a good handful of coats and sweaters. We've been taking offers like crazy.
Oh, yeah, like crazy.
Shoes. I mean, we've been selling those. It's strange. I think some of the stuff that you showed in its video already, but we sold those 2 Oktoberfest skirts.
Yeah, the Oktoberfest skirts.
That was good for $120.
Yeah, so I took an offer of $60 each. I was like, that's fine. Let's just do it. Yeah. Now's the time to sell those.
I've been doing really well finding pants. It's wool pants.
Yes.
And they sell really well.
Wool pants. And some of them are military pants. Some of them are work pants. And it's hard to find wool pants, like, to buy at a store. Right.
And these are vintage. I mean,
vintage
they're old,
wool pants.
So there's no real label on them. But they're just good quality wool pants. And people will pay $60
yeah,
for them, you know?
These pants that sold, and I'll show them in my video tonight, they sold for $60, and they were like vintage German military pants, like solid wool. Like if you're going hunting, you should be wearing these pants. You know,
if you're at the thrift store and I go through all the pants.
Yeah.
And I normally don't buy pants because they're just generic to me.
A lot of pants are.
But I'll find these; they'll be kind of hidden in there.
Yeah.
These like wool pants, and some of them, it's like you said, are from the army
military,
or something.
yeah.
But some of them aren't.
Yeah, some of them
and
are just...
people want those. Guys want those.
And it's funny because when I was in college, I grew up in Boston, right? So it gets freaking cold there in the winter. So I would buy at the thrift store old man pants. We'd call them like old man pants, where they have like the straight cut, and we would buy wool pants because we'd wear those in the winter because they looked awesome, because if you're a thrift store nerd, they look cool, and they were so warm. So we started buying them just to wear them ourselves, and then we're like, other people are gonna want these, you know, and it's true. So those are good things to look out for.
So a good sale I had this week was we sold like a set of gardening tools.
Yes.
A 3-piece, like, you know, a shovel, a small rake, and like a thing to cut weeds.
Yeah.
There were 3 of them, but they were made by this special company that went out of
they didn't go out of business. They stopped making that set.
Right. And so we sold them for $150 for this thing. And it's only because of that we looked online and we did the
research.
We saw that they were no longer sold, and that people on gardening forums
still talk about
them, and we had these, and we put in them. I mean, I think when you could buy these new, they were like $30. So
really, they were that cheap? I thought that they were like high end expensive.
Maybe.
But the thing that was funny about it is we looked up the name, and the name is Snow and Neely. Look it up. It's spelled weird. I'm sure you'll find it, though. And they stopped making them about 10 years ago. I think it was like 2006. So it's funny that people are still talking about it.
Right.
So we thought, if people are still talking about these and there's none online to buy, we're pricing it high.
And, it's interesting, just a quick story about these. This came from a big haul that we did at this thrift store that, every so often you'll run across one of these thrift stores that's run by a guy who loves to buy storage bins,
Storage, like
lockers.
Storage Wars.
Like, he watched Storage Wars, so he loves to go and buy big truckloads of stuff. What he's not good at is actually going through what he has and pricing it appropriately.
Right.
So we went to this place, and it was such a mess. And we talked about this, it's before, and we got 2 carloads of stuff from him because he was unwilling to go through and do the research and price thing. So I probably bought that set for $1.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, it's a bunch of old tools, and we sold for $150.
$150.
And so it's interesting, the ecology. He loves to do what he does. He loves to go out and buy auctions. He does not like to go and sort it out. We don't like to go out and buy big auctions of stuff because it's too much stuff. We love to go and find the little things that we know are worth something.
Right.
So it's great. Everyone's happy,
Right. So here's another example, a high-end sale that happened yesterday, I think. You had eyed these prints. They're prints of buildings in Washington, D.C., all the famous buildings. And they were actually hand-signed in pencil by the artist. They were prints, but he had signed them. And there was a description on the back. It was a set of 6 prints. Like, this is a native Washington, D.C. artist, blah, 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 blah.
People know his name, but he's not famous.
Yeah, he's not locally, people know of him. And we bought all 6 prints for $1. They were in, the dollar room at this thrift store. Everything in this room's $1. So we bought them, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're cool, whatever. I think we put them up for $150 because we realized that this person was someone that some people collect, and he had hand-signed them. And they'd never been framed. They were still in, the plastic artwork holders. And we got an offer for $135, and we sold them to someone in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
So, you have a gut feeling, you pay $1, you research it.
And to me, that's an example of, some people say, well, I have a set of a thing. Do I sell them all at the same time or split it up so I make more?
It's a good question.
I think in this case, we made more because we had a set, and this person was willing to pay a premium because they could buy them all at the same time and frame them up, and I bet they would...
They'll probably go on the wall together.
Instead of if we had done $30 each or something like that,
So that was a very surprising sale. I was like, whoa. I did not think that was the level of offer we would get. Yeah. So I was psyched.
It was good. And then,
this is a cool sale. We had these solid brass curtain tiebacks that's all they do. They just hold curtains.
This is something I would have never have known that people bought.
Okay. The only reason I know this is because...
My mom.
No, that isn't why, actually. She did not have curtains with curtain tiebacks. She might have when I was really little, but not when I was growing up. But the reason I know this is because when I was buying hardware for our house, like hooks and things on eBay in the vintage, architectural section, I would see these all the time. Like, what the hell are these? They go for so much money. Tiebacks, there's a whole category for them. So that's how I knew. So when I saw them, they're solid brass. They're definitely vintage. They look like peacock feathers. There's 4 of them. So that's a full set for a room that has 2 big windows. So I was like, I'm putting $80 on these. And they sold. So $80 for I don't even know how much we paid for them. Probably $1 or $2. That's a great sale.
It is a great sale.
You have to look for vintage looking hardware because people will buy it.
Yep.
I'm that kind of person who buys that stuff, so I know that there are other people.
We know because we buy it ourselves, but we know hooks, doorknobs, door knockers,
hinges,
anything that's brass, that's well made,
Yeah.
Like those always sell for $50 plus because they're hard to find, and the ones that are new are not really made very well. Like
right.
They might look like they're a metal, but they're really like coated.
Yeah.
Or,
or if you want to buy the high-end like door knocker from Restoration Hardware,
right.
You're going to spend $300, $400. Right. Really. Like that's how much that stuff costs. So if you can give someone a deal, 50, 80, 100
And those
bucks.
are really good things to find at flea markets.
Yes.
Especially on junk tables.
Yes.
There'll be a table of junk and there'll be like hooks, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And you
buy
can
them for $1. Yeah. Like those are fun finds. Yeah. I love finding that stuff.
Okay, so enough about how cool we are.
Cool stuff. So let's talk about customer issues.
So we got a neutral feedback this week. This is kind of
sucks.
Man, they seem to come in kind of waves. So we got a negative feedback last week. We got a neutral feedback this week. And this time, the buyer said item was great, but the shipping was slow. They even mentioned a USPS was late.
Yeah, and I looked at the tracking, and it looks like it got all the way to his state, which was Iowa, and then went back to New Jersey, sorting place, and then went back to Iowa. Have no idea why that happened.
And even though the system said that we shipped it the next day, so it was out of our house, we did everything we could, the reps would not take away the neutral feedback.
I called twice.
Because why?
Because they hold you responsible for USPS delivering on time. That is what they told me both times. Weird. I'm like, but my responsibility was to get it out on time, and I did. You can see when I shipped it and when it got scanned. I mean, to me, that's ludicrous. I'm like, USPS rerouted it for some reason. What can I do about that?
So, all eBay says is, well, reach out to the customer. And so all we did was we sent a feedback.
Revision request.
Right. Just to say, we did everything we could. That's never worked for us.
Never.
But we feel like that's what eBay wants to see. They want to see that you're trying to make the customer happy. Then we hope we'll talk to eBay at a later date.
And say, look, I tried what you suggested.
Okay, if you've tried to do these things. And
that's my technique for these ones, is I'm going to say, I reached out. I sent the feedback revision form. And then in 2 weeks from now, I'm calling eBay and being like...
Yeah. We have no doubt that we're going to get both the negative and the neutral.
At this point, I'm doubting it because I've just been stonewalled both times.
Yeah, we'll see. But, again...
What can you do?
I mean, God bless the sellers out there that sell full-time and they never have any neutral or negative feedback.
I don't know how.
But God bless them. They're
miracle workers.
Ninjas or whatever.
I have no idea.
It happens to us every year. We get a couple dings. We live with it. We never really always have 100%. But you know what? It's fine.
We still sell. That's the thing. I have to remember, when I got off the phone the second time, when I tried to remove it, I was so pissed. I was just like, I can't believe that I'm being stonewalled here. This seems so unfair. And then I just had to be like, okay, fine. Just move on with your day. Right. Sell more stuff. But it's fine.
I find what happens, though, is you'll eventually talk to
a good rep.
Rep, and you'll have some kind of good conversation with them, and then you'll be like, how about these two things? Yeah. And the person's like, why not?
I'm like this, BTW, let's check out these other things.
You just and you just caught them on a good day and they're into it, and I feel like that's happened.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we're putting up a new podcast over at shampooandbooze.com.
Yes, we just recorded a new podcast.
I know it's nothing to do with eBay, but we like to mention it just because if you are someone who sells on eBay full time, there are other ways to make
money. Yes,
a living.
Yes,
and this is another way.
And the other thing too is we had a comment this week where someone was like, "Why don't you guys put up more content during the week?" Which I totally understand that people want more content between, Wednesday and Sunday. But we do have another podcast, so you can listen to our other podcast.
Shampooandbooze.com.
Shampooandbooze.com.
But it's good. Our rental property, as we said, one reason why it doesn't matter for us so much when eBay is quieter, because we're making good income.
Yeah.
And this month has been great for us. We went into the month not very booked, and suddenly it just kind of got really
Those
booked.
last-minute bookings.
It's been great. But now we're going into November where we have maybe 9 nights booked.
Yeah.
And, we're just going to see what happens. I've kind of lowered some of the prices to be more competitive.
So we'll see.
Okay, news. Okay, so we got an email from a listener, or a listener's daughter.
Yes.
Dara.
So she says that her dad, John Marzallo, listens to our podcast and that he's a big fan.
And he just had a birthday this week. He's
So
63 years old.
So she wanted us to mention that.
Yeah, just to give him a happy birthday because he listens to the podcast, and he's a seller, a scavenger, and he's actually been sick recently, and so we just wanted to wish him well. But she says that even though he's been sick, he's still been selling on eBay, and they've been helping him ship stuff.
That's good for them.
John, happy birthday, and we hope that you feel it's better, and glad that you have a family around you to help you out.
And you keep on scavenging.
So we got a message from eBay for our second store.
Yes.
Where they raised our limits.
Yep, we did nothing except list. And they raised our limits. They said you can sell 2,000 items right now, and then they said you can now sell 4,160 items.
And your total amount was at 1.66,000. Now we can have items up on eBay worth $133,000.
Yeah, so really, they just did it.
I think this is a good example for people that I understand eBay puts a limit on people's stores, but it doesn't take that much time. I mean, we started this in June, July, August, September. We're in October, so 5 months.
Yeah.
We go from having a very tight amount that we can put up to now we can list 4,000 items or up to over $100,000. I mean, it's more than I'll be able to do. Yeah. So I hear you. Give it time. It probably takes about 3 months.
Yeah. But they just upped our limits every time without me having to do anything.
Have we called a single time?
Not one single time.
Yeah.
So I guess we're doing something right.
Yeah. I think eBay just wants to see a record of
consistency.
Yeah. You're listing things, people are buying, and
you're getting feedback.
Get the item and you get feedback.
Yeah.
And if you just show that,
that's how they lift the limits.
But I understand people who are starting out new and they're trying to make a living at it right away. That is a frustrating thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Something that Chris, the dollar flipper, sent me.
Yes.
He sent a link to an article. And all of the links we talk about will go on scavengerlife.com on the blog post. So eBay announced their quarterly earnings.
Yes.
And they were higher than people expected.
Right. And so the reason he brought this up is because he happened to be hanging out in the eBay forums, and there was crazy gloom and doom. eBay's going down, which is always how the forums are.
Every year eBay's going down.
Every year they're doing something new, and it's going to destroy them forever. And clearly the numbers
don't. And eBay just split from PayPal.
Right.
So everyone's like, well, now that PayPal's not a part of eBay will definitely go down. So it was interesting to see that eBay's actually made more money this quarter than people had expected.
Exactly.
So, whatever.
So I like how you ended that. So, whatever.
I mean, it's because I just that whole level of the stock market, and, investors and quarterly earnings is what does that mean to me? It's good. But ultimately, what needs to work is the website needs to work.
And we need to be making sales.
People need to buy things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my part in the ecology. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So things we learned in the comments. Amazing Taste popped on in the blog. And because last week, Kate had called in and was asking about how to set goals.
She had emailed in.
Sorry, how to set goals. It's tough.
Right.
When you're especially a single person trying to do an eBay store,
yes,
and if you have a family and all that stuff, it's tough. So how do you set goals? So Amazing Taste did a whole blog post that I can
Yeah, link to.
And she explains how she figures out how to set goals. And a lot of it is she has a goal of putting stuff in her store that is worth a certain amount. So it's not just the number of items.
Yes.
It's the value of those items.
That's very important.
Because then based on what sells is how much she thinks she's going to make.
Right.
And, Amazing Taste is one of those people where her and her husband do this full time, and they make a lot of money selling clothes. I mean,
they work so hard.
They can make like $4,000 a week.
Man,
so,
they crank it out.
So she's all about setting goals. So this isn't something that we had talked about in the comments, but people were talking about other places to sell stuff.
Yes.
And that seems to be happening more. Like, it's not just eBay, it's not even just Craigslist. There's Facebook groups and and there are these other. There's some app that someone talked about called
Let Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's easy to sell things now.
Right.
But I'm thinking about your mom. So she just moved to another house, and she moved her entire store.
Yes.
And she was selling a lot in a local Facebook group.
Yeah, so what she was doing is she was basically trying to purge her own closet and stuff she hadn't listed yet that she wanted to get rid of. But she was selling it for sometimes lower than she even bought it for.
Right.
So, she was making a lot of cash because she had a lot of stuff to sell. But it's not as much as you would have made on eBay if you had sold it. But she needed to get rid of that stuff. Right. So it's a little bit of a different equation.
So I feel like there are different places to sell, and Facebook might be one. But again, with a lot of this stuff, it's kind of a local thing. They're almost like a yard sale. Yeah. On a phone.
Right, it's like on
and so people are it's only people like in your local area
who are willing to come pick it up.
And your mom would just put stuff on the porch, and people would put like money in
her mail slot. It's so funny.
It was, done on trust. Yeah. But, she's making like $3, $5. So I don't know.
$10, $20.
I just want to put in its perspective. There are other ways to sell, but really for the profit margin, I have not seen anything that beats eBay.
I mean, the fact that we sold, this was on Bonanza, but we sold a beat up rug that had holes in it for $500.
But it was cool. I mean,
like I'm saying, but if I put that out in my driveway and tried to sell it as a yard sale or in a local group,
instead we sold to like a really rich person in Connecticut.
Yeah, like a super fancy person in Connecticut who wants to outfit their like big house, Great. Those are the people I want to sell to.
Okay, so our coming week is basically finishing off our clothes.
Yes.
Your whole office is going to be cleared of stuff.
Yes. Maybe I'll even vacuum.
Yeah. I'm going to finish off these piles that I'm looking at right now that are sitting in our living room. Yes. That we got from Amsterdam. All that stuff. I'll take photographs of all that.
And part of the week is doing maintenance over at the farmhouse.
Yep. And
we talk about that in our other podcast.
Yeah. So one day, it's this week. Tomorrow, actually, we're going to go out there. It's with a handyman. And, we've been renting for 8 months now. So we have a day of just like painting.
Basic maintenance, and wear and tear.
And that, it's for us, is one of the things that kind of pulls us away from eBay. But
yeah. It's got to get done.
Okay, so let's answer questions that people have either emailed us or they've called in.
Yes, and you can always call our voicemail line and record a question or a comment on something you heard. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm a new eBay seller. I actually have 2 questions. The first one is that I had a customer purchase something from me the end of August. I have a 14-day return policy. The customer contacted me on Monday, October the 19th, saying the shoes were coming apart, some Salvatore Ferragamo. I called eBay and they explained to me that since it's past the 14 days, I don't have to do anything. I requested the guy sent me pictures, and he sent me pictures, and I can clearly see the shoes coming apart. So, at this point, I'm willing to provide him with a partial refund, but just want to know how you guys would handle such a case. The second one is that I had to call eBay a second time because on my description, I have a 15% restocking fee. I had someone return a clutch as item as described, but these pictures were very clear and I was very detailed in my description. But the customer was unhappy and I have a 14-day return policy, so I accepted the return, of course. I called eBay because the system would not allow me to deduct the 15% restocking fee. But they informed me that once the customer returned the item not described, not as described, that I can't charge them a 15% restocking fee. So I just wanted some information because I wasn't aware of this policy. Okay, thank you. Bye.
So the first question about the Ferragamos falling apart, I feel your pain. I have had Ferragamos fall apart on people and have to give them a refund. That can happen with any shoes that are vintage. But I think it's good that even if it was after 14 days that you are willing to do a partial refund. And usually what I do with that is I say, if you need to get these repaired at a shoe repair place, I can help you pay for the repair. Let me know how much it will be. Or here's 50%. You got to just figure out a reasonable thing that you and your customer can agree on.
I do have to say, though, if it's after your return policy, it's really done at your
leisure.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Right.
Because now we have a 30-day return policy. Right. So if it's after 30 days, we do not do any partial refund because 30 days is like you have enough time to test it, use it.
30 days is reasonable.
14 days, I can see where people might want you to be a little bit more generous about it. Because,
so again, it's up to you. I mean, you decide whether you want.
And then in the second case, the reason why you don't get your restocking fee is the person sent it back because the item was not described. So you do not get a restocking fee if the person who bought it says that you've done something wrong.
Right. So if they return it because they changed their mind or they didn't like it or it didn't fit, you get the restocking fee because it's basically like your convenience fee of having to deal with it.
But we had that happen this week where a girl sent back a pair of flip-flops and said that there was something wrong with them. So, but when we got them, there was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It's with them, but we ended up just refunding her everything anyway because we just didn't want to fight with her.
Well, the other problem is we've been getting dinged on our feedback a lot lately, and we're like, these are $20 flip-flops.
We're going to lose $5.
Yeah, we just decided, let's just not deal with it. She might be abusing returns. I'll probably report her. I will report her. But again, price of doing business, it's $5. Let's just move on with our day.
So we have actually kind of a couple questions that are sent from Julie. She says her husband and her sell on eBay it's Wisconsin. They're just doing it as a side income, kind of to help them supplement their retirement. So they have a couple of questions. First is GoDaddy. We use GoDaddy. It's bookkeeping. She says, is there an auto import of your eBay sales info? She says currently she's doing her own spreadsheet. And so the answer is yes. I mean, what you do is you just plug in your eBay info and it sucks in all of your sales and your shipping.
Yeah, it's great.
Stuff. It does not do inventory. Like it doesn't let you do cost of goods sold.
COGS.
But it does do all of your expenses as far as your eBay fees, PayPal fees.
It's crazy to me that they don't do COGS. Yeah. Because the whole point of GoDaddy bookkeeping is to do your eBay bookkeeping.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Yep.
So,
the second question is, how does payment work when an item is pickup only? So her husband is interested in selling a car, and the buyer is open to either paying in cash or paying via PayPal. And she asked if her husband accepts cash payment, how would he enter it into eBay as well as for the payment?
Yeah. So you can take cash. You just mark it as paid. You just look on your, stuff that's sold page and you can just click a button that says mark as paid. And that's great because then there's no fees taken out of PayPal, you still get your eBay fees taken out, though, as, a final value fee. We like taking PayPal for local pickup because we like to show that it got paid for, like, officially.
Also, when someone wants to buy it on eBay, even if it's a local pickup, we like them to pay
first
before they even show up to our house, because we don't want to go through the whole thing of like, well, let's negotiate the payment. Like, will you take less or anything like that? We like it. They've already paid. They're just coming to pick it up, take it, see you later.
That's a good way of putting it. And the other thing is, it's also easier for someone to back out if they are paying cash when they get here. Like with Craigslist. Right. They're like, I don't want it anymore. And you're like, great. Right. So that's why we encourage people, when they buy something local pickup, we say, yep, pay with PayPal, and then let's arrange pickup.
But I know in the past we talked about this about a local pickup when we started to sell furniture, how to have proof that someone actually picked it up. And what people were saying was you can actually print out the eBay slip.
The invoice.
And have them sign it.
Yeah.
Kind of like they would do for an item.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how legal that would be if it were to fight you. But at least you and the person that bought it have, there's a moment where they're actually acknowledging it. And
that they did it. Yeah, so it's tough because, eBay has no way of proving that, they picked it up.
We've sold quite a few things on local pickup this past 12 months.
We've had no problems. No problem. Not a single problem.
I think a lot of it is just based on trust. If you're feeling like the person feels shady, you shouldn't do the deal anyway, no matter what.
Right, exactly.
But it's most people, they actually want the item, and they just want to get it.
Hey, Ryan and Jay. This is Butterscotch Brian here, just calling to say I was really interested in your experimental store. Thanks for doing that, because it's really been pushing me to get my listings up, because I was one of those mid-level, low-level guys, whatever. Didn't have a ton of listings, but just been seeing you raise up there, and it's been inspiring me. But this is my question. I have been monitoring this little company, has I guess an app out there. Let Go is the name of it, and I just started experimenting with that. Putting listings out there. I guess it's more of like a Craigslist, but the articles I've been reading about it is they do envision themselves as a competitor to eBay. Not that I don't love eBay. Obviously I think it's a wonderful platform, but looks to me like there's some competition coming their way, and I just wonder, with the lack of guidance that we've had for the last couple of years, how things are going to work out here on the eBay side of things. If you took a look at it, that Let Go is the name of it, if you haven't seen it. I did look it, I just monitor it, as far as app downloads, and Let Go is currently, this is, what are we, in October of 2015? It's the 41st most popular download right now on the Apple store, where eBay was clocked in at 68. So I'm seeing commercials out there, and obviously the app is being downloaded at a good clip. So I think it's something to look at, and I was just wondering if you have maybe looked at it, or anyone else in the community has. I'm going to experiment more with it, and hopefully others do too, because it might be something to add. All right, thanks. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, there are a lot of websites and apps that try to be like the eBay killer. And, take over eBay's, influence, and I've never seen it happen.
Right, but you know what? It totally could happen.
It could, yeah.
And that's a cool thing, that it keeps eBay and Amazon and all these other sites, it keeps everyone on their toes, because they know that anyone can build a website, and if they do a service or attract more people, then it's fine. But like we said earlier, every app we've seen, people that sell on Instagram or Craigslist or Let's Go, or there's all kinds of these things popping up. I just don't see the profit being made like we can make on eBay. As far as the amount of money we can get per item and the amount of items we sell.
Yes.
There's a Poshmark, and
there's a Wallapop, there's just all these things that these little apps that people are like, just take a picture of this and it'll sell instantly. I've tried almost all of those, and I've never had the experience that I have with eBay. I've tried Now, Etsy seems different now, but in the beginning when Etsy first started, I was really trying to sell on Etsy, and it was horrible. I didn't
and
sell
that
at
also
all.
just might work for us too, because we live in a rural area where we don't have a lot of people in our local area who are willing to pay a lot of cash for items. Maybe if you lived in like a really thick urban area, you might be able to sell things on these little local apps for more, but we haven't seen it.
No, not at all.
All right, so that's it for this week. It's good to be back again. I feel like we're still kind of coming back.
Catching up. Getting back into the groove.
Everything we talked about as far as links goes will be on scavengerlife.com, and you can also go there to join the conversation after the podcast. You can also call and leave a comment.
Yes, the phone number is 540-407-8486.
And sometimes people call and they want us to call them back. We will never call you back.
Yeah, so this we've never mentioned this, but a lot of people will leave us their phone number and say, give me a call back. And we're not going to call you back.
Yeah, I mean, it's no offense to anyone, but we aren't really coaches or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if there's something that you need help with, just go on the blog and just...
Yeah.
A lot of us on there. We're on there too. Lots of conversations can happen. And if you have a question, you can email us and we'll,
get to you faster than the 1 week.
We post an episode every Sunday night, Monday morning.
Wednesday, I post a What Sold video.
And then you can always subscribe to us through either iTunes or through
YouTube.
You can also, on the blog itself, there's a place to put your email, and you'll get emailed if ever we post a new post.
There's also a link at the top of the blog where you can download all our episodes all at once.
Right.
So if you want the entire archive, you can go there.
Right. All of our episodes are free on YouTube or iTunes or on the blog, but this is actually a service where it's doing.
Yes.
So that's a paid service. So if you're new and you just want all over 200 episodes
in one big download,
so they're all just there for you, and you can go ahead and download those. Okay, and also, I will always mention this because it's nice. If you ever want to rent our farmhouse, our vacation farmhouse, and maybe even meet us, I will put a link to our blog on there as well.
There's lots of openings in November.
Yep, cool. All right, guys, this podcast is ending in
3, 2, 1. Bye.